The sun beat down mercilessly upon the arid, desolate valley of Lehi, turning the ancient Judean wilderness into a furnace of dust and stone. As heat waves distorted the horizon, and an oppressive silence settled over the cracked earth, signaling the approach of a catastrophic confrontation where a massive Philistine army advanced in tight formation, their bronze armor and iron spears glinting brightly under the blinding midday sky. Footsteps shaking the ground with the arrogant certainty of a legion marching toward an easy kill. While at the center of this barren valley stood Samson, bound tightly with thick, newly woven hemp ropes, entirely defenseless with his head hung low against his chest. Sweat carving muddy paths through the thick layer of desert dust on his skin as the enemy closed their perimeter with mocking war cries, until in a single fraction of a second, the divine spirit of the Almighty descended like an untamed fire, surging into Samson's veins with unstoppable power that made the unbreakable bonds shatter instantly, snapping and burning away like fragile threads of charred flax, leaving Samson standing completely unbound with no shield, no armor, and no conventional sword. Yet, as his sharp eyes scanned the dry terrain beneath him, he spotted the crude, bleached jawbone of a freshly fallen donkey, half buried in the sand, gripping the jagged weapon with a weathered hand and unleashing a thunderous roar that echoed off the canyon walls as he charged forward alone into the heart of the Philistine vanguard, colliding head-on with the armed division, moving with supernatural speed and devastating force, swinging the crude jawbone through the air with lethal precision, while spears shattered and bronze shields buckled under his righteous fury until 1,000 soldiers fell before his unmatched power, and a deep, eerie stillness descended over the land, leaving Samson standing alone in the quiet center of the field, where he tossed the worn jawbone onto a mound of rocks and named the ground Ramath Lehi, the hill of the jawbone. But as the rush of combat faded, an overwhelming physical exhaustion and deadly dehydration took hold of his body under the scorching desert sun, drying his throat like parched leather and causing his knees to buckle onto the cracked earth, trembling from head to toe in complete vulnerability as he realized that human strength was utterly useless against the crushing reality of mortal thirst, prompting him to lift his trembling hands toward the open heavens and cry out with a broken, desperate voice, pleading with God not to let him perish in the dust after such a great deliverance. And the Lord heard the humble cry of his servant, causing a sudden celestial light to strike the hollow place in the dry ground beside the jawbone, splitting the stone wide open so that a violent, crystal-clear torrent of pure, ice-cold spring water burst upward into the dry air, sparkling like diamonds in the golden sun, and rushing toward Samson's kneeling form, where he cupped the living water in his palms, drinking deeply as the cool stream washed away the sweat, blood, and dust of the battle, instantly revitalizing his weary soul, returning the light to his eyes, and restoring his divine strength from the very edge of death, allowing him to rise completely renewed, beside the newborn flowing spring, which he named En-Hakor, the spring of the caller, standing as an eternal testament that whenever a desperate soul cries out in humility, God provides life and miraculous living water.